Yakuza Kiwami 2. Now, Yakuza Kiwami 2 is a game I don't hold very dear to my heart compared to Kiwami 1, but it's still a pretty good game, and to be fair, it was my first Dragon Engine Yakuza game. Just so you know, the visual mod I am using, as you can see in the background, is the Okinawa shirt from Yakuza Kiwami 3. I'm not going to buy Yakuza Kiwami 3, so this is the next best thing. This outfit rocks, I'm just going to say it, I really like it. Anyway, without further ado, I suppose we should get into the rules. So here we go. Rule number 1. Obviously, this is a no damage run, meaning I cannot take damage from enemies. Some enemies might be able to hit me, but I just can't lose health. My health bar can't go down. This does happen, but not in this run, but just generally this can happen. Number 2. This is going to be done on hard difficulty. Now, realistically, I actually could have done this on legend difficulty, just given the way how Kiwami 2 does its saves and things like that. But we did it on hard mode. I also don't think I had it unlocked for some reason, which is weird, because I've played through Kiwami 2 twice, and I have it 100%'d. But we played it on hard mode. Number 3. My damage will be set to 150. Now, there is a mod available that sets your damage to 150, and that is what we used. That being said, there are some exceptions. I did raise my damage for some fights. We will get to those when we get to those, and I'll explain why I did it. And lastly, this is, of course, a story bosses only fight, or only video run, only run. So the no damage you'll be seeing are only these story bosses. Nothing like Amano or any of the side bosses. Now, let's move on to disclaimers. This one is a little redundant, but I'm just going to say it again. We are not doing the Amones. I don't think they're fun fights, and this doesn't change with Kiwami 2. They're just not fun fights to me. Number 2, we will not be doing the Majima Saga. The Majima Saga is a lazy attempt to try to write more depth into Makimoto, that relationship, and it is just abysmal. And on top of that, Majima's fighting style is not even a fighting style, and I just don't feel like no damaging something that is incomplete. Number 3. The Osaka Castle Long Battle will not be included in this video. It is impossible to do on anything that isn't easy, and I don't feel like redoing my save just to do it on easy. So we're just not going to include Osaka Castle. That being said, we are including the tiger fight, in case you are a big fan of the tiger fight. We are including that. Another thing I want to say, I guess number 4. This entire run was done on high FPS, around 180 FPS. Now, I just want to say that doesn't sound that crazy, unless you know how Kiwami 2 runs. Then you would look at me and call me insane for doing this. The reason I do this game on 180 FPS instead of the traditional 30 actually, the traditional 30 FPS, which most people do their no damages on, is because the game just looked abysmal. That's really all it comes down to. It looked like a little PowerPoint slide, and I don't want to subject you guys to that. Lastly, I want to say, do not use this video as a combat guide or a no damage guide to Yakuza Kiwami 2. Realistically, you could say this about my previous no damages too, but I feel like at least my previous no damages, there is definitely a little more substance. In this one, I really suggest do not use this as a combat guide, unless for some reason you're playing on high FPS, because I'm going to be honest, the high FPS really does bastardize how you play this game. So please do not use it as a combat guide, unless I guess you're playing on high FPS. Otherwise, do not, because there's a lot this game can offer in terms of combat, but unfortunately, it just does not show here, just because of the how bad the bastardization of higher FPS is. Without further ado, thank you so much for clicking on the video, and we will go ahead and go on to the no damages. Starting this off, we have the Daigo lackeys, which honestly isn't that bad of a fight, but we're going to include it because it's here. Now, even though we're at 150 attack damage, it really doesn't matter that much in this fight. Really, it's just like one of those things where it's like, of course having 300 attack would be better, but honestly it doesn't even matter, because we're already done with them. Yeah, that was the Daigo lackeys. Now we have Daigo. I like that dynamic control a lot. But, so Daigo here is also really chill. Not much to say. I do the charge square into a combo, but realistically, you have a bunch of bikes here. I use a cardboard box. Don't ask, it just was right next to the bike. But yeah, you have bikes. I use a heat action here. I only really use the heat action because he got close to me, but realistically, you can just use the bikes to kind of destroy him and delete him. Especially if you're not at, if you're doing new game, you don't have like full stats. Another thing you could do is the charged triangle attack when you're locking on to Daigo or locking onto an enemy, because that is very good against Daigo as well. Here I'm just kind of doing combos willy-nilly, and what you will notice is that with the beginning bosses I am more combo heavy, or I try to do combos more, whereas with the later bosses I don't, and I will explain that later into the game. But for right now, you will see a few more combos than if I were not doing the later bosses in the game. Overall though, Daigo is really not that much of a threat. I honestly don't even know if he's using his Yakuza 4 moveset. He might be. I don't know. But now we're at Feel the Heat, and as a result, that's Daigo done with. Some of y'all feel the heat in this game. I don't know how it is in the regular Yakuza 2, so I can't say, but I kind of dislike how there's like maybe 2 or 3 Feel the Heat animations other than the unique ones. It's kind of boring. I don't like it, but it's really not that important. Now we have this long battle. This long battle is... I actually really like this long battle. It's a very good long battle. The only thing I don't like about it, we'll get to it, but overall this is a really nice long battle. You can pretty much always start by doing a 4 squares triangle into a bounding throw. There's never a situation where you kind of get screwed over, so that's a pretty consistent way to start it. Now you just have to deal with pretty much everyone, but they're at pretty low health, so you can easily deal with them. If I really had to give a tip here, just be careful about like the knife guys, just because the knife moveset can be a little wonky to deal with, but really those guys aren't bad. Now here we have 2 fat guys and I think a guy with a weapon, maybe not, but honestly the starting thing is the same. You do 4 squares into triangle into a bounding throw, and you can take out quite a few guys, if not lower the health a lot. Here I go ahead and do another bounding throw. You really want to use bounding throws in Yakuza Kiwami 2 because they make it very obvious that they will attack enemies, they will damage enemies. That being said, you have to keep in mind that just because you can damage enemies in Kiwami 2's bounding throws, that does not mean they can't damage you. They will hit you if you give them the chance. But really, I like to save these fat guys for last just because they move very slow, and as a result, they aren't necessarily a threat. But I'm going to be honest, I would just recommend using heat actions on them. Use the wooden katana and the switchblade that were dropped in the previous section of the fight. But I think the switchblade actually despawned or something for me, so you can also just rush combo. This is fine. Now here I get really lucky because... There I got insanely lucky, but I get lucky here because the fat guy never blocks. And the reason that's good is because sometimes the fat guy will block, and as a result, he will guard break, but his guard break will hit you, and it is aggravating. So for these next 2 guys, or for this next part of the long battle, let's go ahead and just see what I do here. I go ahead and charge my charged square attack, leaving this guy here, and this allows me just to focus on him one-on-one. Now I just have this guy. I charge my square attack again. I didn't really need to, but it's fine. Here, I go ahead and lead them one by one to fight them, these enemies. Go ahead and do the charged triangle attack, and he's just down for the count. This time we kited 2 of them at the same time, or I thought I did, sorry. But here, okay, yeah, I did. So here we go ahead and just do the square to stun them again. I think I'm gonna just say square and not charge square just because less words, right? But yeah, so you essentially just want to deal with them one-on-one, just crowd control the best you can. I completely forgot I have my mic on for these early no damages.
Look at this! Oh!
Okay, bro. I have no idea what they were talking about. We were talking about something, though. But yeah, so those guys will kind of pull up. All the guys in the, what's that, like a corridor or whatever, they will pull up and once they see you. But you can kind of hype them specifically. Like you can do one-on-one, so you don't have to deal with all of them at once, which is really helpful. And is really nice considering they can surround you if you're not careful. One thing I will say, though, is be careful around the staircase, because they can get stuck on the staircase, but that does not mean they can't hit you. And I lost a lot of attempts because of that. So here, I kind of want to make distance, so I'm not right in front of these 2. Here I go ahead and miss that attack, but we go for the grab attack, or the charge attack here. We go for the grab heat action. And one thing that really bothers me about Yakuza Kiwami 2's heat action system, well, not really the heat system, it's the health bars. The health bars in Kiwami 2 really bother me, Because you'll have a health bar that's health bar, excuse me, that looks really low and then it's not, and then sometimes they are, and it's just a big mess. I don't like how they did health bars in this game or in Yakuza 6. They're just not good to me. I think they're just very convoluted and very messy. Here you'll see a nice little cut here. Seamless, genuinely seamless cut. Other than, you know, obviously the health being increased and a little bit of heat, but otherwise, if none of that changed, you would not tell that was a cut. Like I said, not all these long battles are done in one take. I don't think any of them are in this game, but unfortunately, I have a lot of exams to study for, so that's just not something that can happen. That room is pretty simple, though. Just use the same advice as I do in the other rooms. So, okay. These guys suck, obviously. You have the couch guys, you have these knife guys. Neither of them are really any sort of show of skill. They're more here to waste your time and be annoying than actually, you know, provide a challenge here. For the knife guys specifically, as soon as you hear them yell, dodge to the side, like that. And for the couch guys, if you don't have any weapons available to you, just do charged triangle attacks. They do a lot of damage, as you'll see here. But in future long battles, you'll see that I do use, what's it called? I use a weapon just because I don't want to waste your time, because this is taking like a good 30 seconds just to get rid of these guys, and it's just obnoxious. So you will see I will be using weapons to take care of the couch guys later on. Just want to let you know. Now we have this section. Once again, like honestly, a lot of these sections in this long battle can be, you could just really do what I have been saying. Go ahead, just bounding throw as soon as you can, get rid of as many enemies as possible or lower their health. And then, yeah, it's pretty easy other than that. It's pretty simple. This is a very simple long battle. It's a very good first long battle, too. There's very nice stuff. It's a very good long battle. Now, the thing about knife guys in Yakuza games, I'm always really scared to fight them, so I'm very cautious when it comes to knife guys. But now we just go through here. There's no knife guy here, but there will be a knife guy soon, so we have to pay attention. A lot of the running through the long battles, I don't mind, but man, those knife guys, they did not... They were very, what's the word, liberal with the knife guys, let's just say that. And we will see that very soon. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much I can say other than, you know, dodge for these sections. That's literally all the advice I can give. Here, take it slow, because there's a guy with a knife in the room to the right. So take it slow and just time your dodges for the guy I just took out. Now we have another couch guy. Woohoo, couch guys, very fun, totally not an annoying feature. But, yeah, I mean, just take out the couch guy however you please, weapons or not. Because, like, then you'll have stuff like that where you just miss, and it's just like, okay, awesome, man. So, yeah, I really don't like these couch guys. Now, in this next room, we have a little mini-boss, who I think is doing Rikia's moveset from Yakuza 3, if I'm not mistaken. Here, I go ahead, we have furniture. Use the furniture. The furniture is your best friend here. I go ahead and do a heat action here, but honestly, you could also just do the normal triangle attack if you have the time. I promise you, the furniture will just save you a lot of heartache and a lot of struggle. Otherwise, this is a pretty standard fight. Pretty much do the same thing. I have no idea how I didn't take damage there. Another very annoying thing about the Dragon Age games, enemies can just, you know, throw or kick items at you or like furniture and stuff at you, and as a result you will take damage if they hit you. It is something very obnoxious in these games, and it's something I really hate because of the Dragon Engine games. It just ruins the flow of combat substantially. Go ahead, be careful here. There are a few more knife guys around, like this guy in the corner, this cuck lord. There he goes. Now we have another couch guy. Let's go ahead and take him out as quickly as possible. Yeah, I don't really know why they have so many of these guys here. They really ruin flow of these sections, and I really hate it. But they exist, I guess. I could have probably taken them out, but whatever. Now here, we go ahead and do the heat action on the chandelier. Or we will do it, I should say. Because there's a lot of guys with guns here, and it can be very annoying if you don't. So just use this. Also, it just looks cinematic. I mean, just look at it, bro. It's a very cool heat action. Now, for the remainder of this long battle, once again, be very, very careful about the enemies because they will kick these plants at you. And I actually lost a run because of that, and it was super tragic. Like right there, they will kick them at you. Other than that, you know, you just have normal, like, sword guys and you have fist guys, so obviously that is not too much to worry about. I'm just being super safe here because this room can be very obnoxious when it wants to be. Really, it can be very annoying. There I go ahead and I say accidentally, but I missed the finisher there. I pick up a gun. I don't realize they only have one bullet right there. As you can see, he kicks the plant. You gotta be careful, man. You really gotta be careful about those plants. Or just weapons. Or not even weapons, furniture in general, excuse me. They can really screw with you if you let them. And that's this room done with. And once again, we have another couch guy. Yo, I love the couch guys. Here, I go ahead and just use a katana, I think, or do I just throw it at him? I think I throw it at him, actually. Or I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, these couch guys, man. I don't think they're in any other games. At least at being this obnoxious, I should say. Maybe they are. But yeah, I really don't like the couch guys in these games. They are just very, very annoying. It's just... it just wastes a lot of time, those guys. Now we have the last part of this long battle where we have to take care of 3 guys. Now, I was being very safe here. I'm talking using heat actions, doing everything possible to not take damage, but really none of these guys are super aggressive. And it's not something you have to worry about. Like, yeah, you can see I am being very passive here. I don't want to deal with these guys. I don't want the smoke at all. So I just keep, like, charge squaring. But really, you don't need to be doing this. It's kind of unnecessary. Like, these guys are not a threat. And, I mean, as you can see, yeah, that's the entire long battle done with. Now, we have Ryuji 1. Also, you will hear me talking.
I like this dynamic intro. It's nothing crazy, but it's just nice.
I agree. Yeah. Sorry, I completely forgot I was recording here, but here we go ahead and do the just normal Kiwami 2 combo. We don't do the square triangle, but whatever, it's fine. We took out half his health. And with this version of Ryuji, you can't actually do these combos because he doesn't have hyper armor, or disgusting amounts of hyper armor, I should say, because I can't say for certain if this version doesn't have hyper armor. But really, this version of Ryuji is a pretty good fight. He does very slow attacks, so they're very easy to tiger drop, they're very easy to dodge, and they're very easy to be like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. It's just easy to time this. But sometimes, he'll just be very passive, which can be very annoying, because sometimes I don't want him to be passive. By the way, if you notice, I really want to tiger drop that grab he does. I don't do it in this fight, but we will get to it when we get to it.
Oh! You're fine, what?
Very lucky there. You gotta remember, with the Dragon Ninja games, you can you can block while you attack. And that saved me right there. He does his little combo there. We can go ahead and do our own. Now we're in QTE. I agree. For a rule of thumb, I would say never do double finishers in this game. They're almost never worth it. Sometimes they can be, but almost never do it. The only double finisher...
There is a way to lower your health.
Yeah, I remember. I was talking about because there's no Absim in this game, so as a result...
No, not that.
It's very annoying to reset.
You get from the bouncer missions. It's a katana that's on fire.
Oh.
And it takes a good chunk of your health, actually.
Thank you, my bro.
Oh. Why are you afraid of heat actions? Just do a heat action! Who cares?
Alright, I think that's enough commentary from my brother there. Oh gosh, wait, no. There's some more, I think.
Oh, I want it.
Oh, was he trying to pretty much saying, I want to tiger drop that. But yeah, the rest of this fight's really not that bad. Just use what I've been telling you. Punish him when you can. Oh. Punish him when you can. You know when to dodge and things like that. Pretty simple stuff. Oh! He's really happy with that tiger drop. It was just nice.
I want to let me do the heat action.
I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I completely forgot I had my voice recording for these, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem for the rest of this.
I would. Oh, you don't understand how angry I would have been.
I should give some context here. So my computer, I don't know what it is, specifically with Dragon Engine games. My CPU just kind of dies.
What do you mean? You're saying why won't
So stuff like that happens a lot. But yeah, Ryuji's really not that bad of a fight. Ryuji won, isn't it? Now we just get Feel the Heat, and it's GG's for Goda.
It just lowers your health? Yeah. It does damage, but it also lowers your health. Oh, every swing does damage?
Just so you know, I never use that sword for this fight. This fight versus Esaki is horrible because of something I mentioned earlier, that enemies will just kick furniture to hurt you, which makes this fight very obnoxious. But what I would do is dodge out just like that in the beginning, grab this trash can, and just pray. Just pray. That is the best advice I can give you. I know it's kind of depressing, but oh my gosh if it doesn't work. Now, of course, we can do bounding throws because there's not that much garbage in the way. But yeah, this fight is... It's obnoxious, to say the least. It's a very, very annoying fight. But at this point, when you have, like, what, 4 guys left, it's really not that bad. Not to mention, you gotta spend, like, 400k just to do this fight. Which is very pretentious, because you're telling me 400k to do this fight? Yeah, this fight is not very good. I don't really like it, because just the fact they kick stuff around and that could damage you is obnoxious. But otherwise, this fight's really not that bad. It's just a little obnoxious, but once you get it down, it can be pretty easy. Really just deal with it how you would in most other, like, normal group fights, and you should be okay. Now we have Mysterious Stranger. Or Assassin, sorry. This guy sucks. He has no aura. He's not cool. He's just kind of a guy. He has hyper armor, or I think he has hyper armor at least. It feels like he has hyper armor. He dodges an absurd... I don't know how I didn't get hit there, by the way. I was very lucky. Yeah, he has hyper armor sometimes. He doesn't like to get stunned. He's just not very fun to fight. And realistically, I don't think anyone would blame you. Oh, by the way, I do the ground heat action there because he doesn't like to get grounded either. Yeah, this guy, and honestly, all the gun enemies in this game are just not good fights at all. And when I say the gun enemies, we'll get to the other gun guys soon. But yeah, none of them are good fights. And this guy is just the tip of the iceberg, some will say. Yeah, he's not fun. Really, there's not much I can say for this fight except play it safe. Even if it takes a lot of time, just do what you gotta do. Also, obviously, if you have Komaki Firearm Flip, it's gonna help a lot. But I also don't know if, because 120 FPS, these fights change, specifically with gun guys. Maybe? I don't know. I would have to look at a 30 FPS gameplay and see how they differ. Now we have the Coliseum Fights. Here we have Discuva. Now, the thing about Discuva and the next fight, which is Gary Buster Holmes, they have hyper armor. Sometimes it's very obvious when they have it, sometimes it's not obvious. And you will sometimes get clipped and get very annoyed about it. But otherwise, Scuvia here, I'm assuming, I don't know how you pronounce his name, is really not that bad of a fight. Something I should mention with the charge square attack, as you notice, they'll have 2 stances. One where they just kind of like stay put, but like lean in a little bit, and then you have another one where they tumble back. Always, I would recommend, if they are tumbling back, that's when you want to do your combo, because that is when you will they're actually stunned. Because if they do the thing where they lean in but don't stumble back, they're not actually stunned, and you will learn that the hard way if hello. You will learn that the hard way if you if you do this fight, or if you play the game that way. So yeah, be careful about that. Just pay attention. Like that stumble back, do the combo. You can do the combo here. Whereas if they lean in, you can't. So Gary here, like that lean in, do not commit to a combo. Gary here is really not that bad. He gives you a lot of openings that really are easy to work with. That being said, he has this one attack where he just just jumps across. He doesn't actually jump, but he glides across the floor, and it is always very unexpected. And if that does happen, you just gotta spam dodge. It is the fight of all time, or it is the move of all time, I should say. Here we go ahead and pop extreme heat just so we can do the heat action, and this is Gary done for. And that's Gary. Now for this next fight we have Majima, and I'm just going to say it straight up, we use a lot of tiger drops on Majima. This is one of the fights where high FPS makes him truly unplayable. I checked with different no damages. I didn't ask anybody obviously, but I checked on different no damages. I looked at the videos, all of them playing at 30 FPS. It's very clear that 120 FPS, or high FPS, excuse me, affects Majima. So instead, I was like, okay, I will learn the tiger drop timings for Majima, and that's how we're going to do this. And to be honest, the tiger drop timings for Majima really aren't that bad. But this is definitely one of the fights where it's the only not feasible, but it's not the only way, but it is definitely one of the more simple ways to deal with him. Which kind of sucks because I would have liked to combo Majima, but it just doesn't happen. He blocks or he dodges just way more quickly than you could do anything, which it sucks because this is a fight I was looking forward to, but realistically it's just me tiger dropping. Now here, instead of tiger dropping, I pop extreme heat, and the reason is because I want to do a heat action. So I'm kind of just waiting until he can do a move that I like, so I could dodge and do a heat action on him. And there we go. Now the thing about doing a heat action this late into the fight, it means that by the time you do the QTE, he will be in an extreme heat. Because as you can see, I'm doing a lot of damage to him that he is on his last health bar, and he has not done his QTE transition. Which now that he has, it's one button. Be careful guys, don't miss that button. But seriously, now that I've done this, he is in extreme heat range here. So now all I have to do is hit him like once or twice, and it's over. The fight's over. And that is definitely a piece of advice I will give, is try to get him to low green health bar as much as possible and do a heat action, because this makes this fight so much simpler. And you don't even have to deal with second phase as a result. But yeah, that's Goro Majima. Once again, very unfortunate that I essentially tiger dropped the entire fight, but I promise you it would not have been fun to watch any other way. Not interesting, at least. Here we have the 16-bit brothers. This fight sucks. It's just annoying. You have people kicking stuff at you, and it's just very obnoxious. There's just a lot of stuff to kick, as you can see. So here, like bro, they kick so much, man. Holy crap. Here though, they have a lot of like the wide area of effect, like weapons you can use, or like items such as bicycles, these like construction signs and things like that. I repeat this heat action. I didn't mean to, but I forgot to hold L2 or LT or whatever. But yeah, use these items to your advantage, because they do an absurd amount of, they do a lot of damage. They have a wide area of effect, and you will just, it just makes the fight so much easier. One piece of advice I will give is when you're using these is to kind of preemptively swing if someone's running up on you, because they will rather dodge or block. So it is very important to know how to time your attacks. Now for the rest of these guys, they're not bad. They're just normal enemies. Just take them out as you would. And that's the 16-bit brothers fight done. Now we have the Amano building long battle, and this long battle I really don't like, I'm not gonna lie. Its whole point is to introduce you to Man in Black here, which is another boss that is completely screwed as a result of high FPS. So if you're expecting a good Man in Black fight, I have some news for you. So yeah, we go ahead and do a charge triangle into a heat action, and that takes him out. Sorry about that. And now for this next room. Oh, I get stuck here. I don't know why, but it just happens. But for this next room, you have a baseball bat. Use that bat. You have a guy with a metal pipe, and you have a guy with a switchblade. Do your heat actions as is. Now, be careful with the Switchblade guy, because realistically, he swings really fast, which can be really threatening. So I would recommend you actually heat action the Switchblade guy and take out the Metal Pipe guy with the normal attack. Now you have gun guys. Just time your dodges, make sure you don't get hit. And be careful, because they can kick you if you get close. So you have to be good at timing that. Now we have this section with the shield. And once again, on paper, very easy. And it is very easy. And is a very good way to get heat. But be careful, because these guys will screw you in one way or another if you aren't careful. They can kick you if the range is good. That's why I'm being so patient here, because they will kick you. They will find a way to ruin your night, to say the least. So yeah, be careful with these guys. Take your time, hit them when they're about to shoot you, because even if you miss, guess what? They can't hurt you. So yeah, be careful with these guys. This is a relatively easy section, but it can be very difficult if you mess up the timing. Now, in this next section, we are facing off with Man in Black again. And once again, I am not actually going to be facing Man in Black. We are going to be doing this a very simple way. It's kind of a disappointment, because like this long battle doesn't really feel like a long battle to me. It just feels kind of lazy. Like, it doesn't feel like a real long battle. It just feels like, hey, here's Man in Black a few times. Here's some enemies. There's nothing more to it. It doesn't feel like a traditional long battle, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's how you deal with Man in Black. The second time, we pop Extreme Heat, do a heat action, and that's it. Now, these guys, I don't know, like, they have so many guys here. It's kind of a slop, I'm gonna be honest. They just thought, okay, let's just increase enemy density in this area specifically. I'm sure that'd be really fun for the player to verse. It's not. It's very annoying. It's not hard. It's not hard at all, but it's just obnoxious, to say the least. Like look how many guys are here. You remember the Yakuza 0 long battle? This wasn't the case. I don't think Kiwami had a long battle like this, or similar to this. There weren't that many enemies. But Kiwami 2, they're like, let's put as many enemies as possible. There's so many, man. They keep coming. Okay, we do a heat action there. I wanted to do the duo heat action, where you take out two guys at once, but it's fine. Like, we'll be okay. Here we go ahead and do it, though. And that is these guys done with. But yeah, like, the long battles in this game, I'm not a giant fan of, just because it just feels like they didn't understand how to do enemy placement, which kind of is annoying. They just have a shotgun guy, because why not, man? Why not just have a shotgun guy there? But after all these guys are done, you now have to deal with 3 fat dudes. Say it with me. I hate fat guys in Yakuza games, and it is not different in Kiwami 2. You think new engine, they won't be as bad? Nope, they are horrible. Very bad. Dragon Engine physics, that's all I can say. But yeah, these guys are not very fun to fight. They're very boring to fight, actually. Just deal with them. It's like very like tragic advice, but yeah, just deal with them. That's all I could say. This is I don't know. This is like the one thing I really don't like about these Dragon Engine games. It's like the health just feels very absurd. Now, granted, of course, I am using 150 damage here. You could make that argument, which is fair, but even then, it's like, come on, man. I don't need these guys to be that beefy. Also, that attack, man, pisses me off. I could have got no damage. Could have ended right there. But yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. Just do what you gotta do to take these guys out. It's not hard to take them out. Just do it. Now, this part of the long battle was done in one take. However, this next part, which is Man in Black, was not, just because I don't got that time, man. I'm sorry. So you will see a cut here. Yeah, you could tell it's a cut just because of the music and stuff like that. But did you see the second cut? Yeah, so this first part with Man in Black, what I do is a heat action. So I do this heat action, take out half of his health. And now for this next part, I just Tiger Drop him. Because Man in Black is one of the enemies, or one of the bosses that is affected by high FPS to a point where it feels, it's just not fun to watch. I'm gonna be honest. Because realistically what I can do is charge square, don't even do a full rush combo, I just do 4 square like rush combo, no finisher, because he can hyper armor whenever, and it's just not interesting to watch. And as a result, I'm sorry, but that's just not something I want to put you guys through. But if you are doing this on 30 FPS, you can just do charge square into combos, but that is just not the case on high FPS. Also, he's using, I believe, Richardson's moveset, Andre Richardson's moveset. Now, he pulls up with the Balenciagas. He's got knives on his shoes. But we don't care. We are going to do heat actions. Something I want to mention is that at the beginning of every boss fight, every boss is passive. So you could do some sort of risky combo, some sort of risky attack, and 9 times out of 10, they should just take it. Now here, I missed this heat action with the chair. Something you want to know is that you want to go behind these boxes and get a QTE like that, because this allows you to get more heat and stay in extreme heat mode, which is very helpful. But use all the furniture to your advantage here. Use every single piece of furniture you have. It is there for a reason. And with that, we end the fight with this heat action. A very funny one to end off with. And I believe it's Feel the Heat as well with this guy. Yes, Feel the Heat. So yeah, unfortunately, Man in Black is going to be a boss fight where it's just not going to be that interesting to watch, just because there's nothing to do in high FPS. But on low FPS, on 30 FPS, there is a lot to do against Man in Black. Now we have 2 giant guys, just 2 Jingweon men. These guys aren't bad. One of them has the Kuze moveset. I don't know what the other moveset is, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, pick up this bench, by the way, because you can go ahead and do this wide attack, and it's very good, as you can see. Now, you want to get one of them to their red health bar, because then you could do this QTE, which does even more damage. Very nice. And they take a lot of damage. Yeah, I don't know what the other heat action or the other moveset is, but I know one of the guys has the Kuze moveset. Now, you only need to bring one of these guys down to feel the heat mode, and this takes them both out. So you definitely just want to focus on one guy instead of both of them, and that's the entire fight done. So yeah, I would say, oh gosh, this fight. This fight sucks, but not for the reasons you think. It's really not that bad. Like, the enemies you're facing aren't that bad, but look how dense just everything is in this fight. There are so many pieces of furniture that you can use and that they can use, and as a result, it makes this fight very annoying. We go ahead and do this heat action. Not much else to say, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, they can go ahead and just kick so much furniture at you. If you're not paying attention, GG, that's your no damage done with. It is obnoxious, and unfortunately, you have to do 2 fights here. I have no idea how I didn't get hit by anything, but hey, we take those. We go ahead and repeat this bar heat action. I didn't mean to repeat it. I was trying to do the heat action where you grab him by the head and smash him on the ground, but it is what it is, right? But this fight, not hard, just very annoying. Now we have Hayashi's goons. This fight is very simple, if not honestly boring. There's a lot of fights that are just not that interesting in this game, and it's kind of tragic. Also, you have Go-Ryu helping you, which helps a lot, because she can take aggro, she can stun enemies when you don't think you can stun them. She's just a very useful companion here. But yeah, there's not much to say, just take care of these guys as you would. Yeah, I don't know, there's just a lot of fights that are just not that interesting in this game. There's a lot of filler fights. You thought Kiwami 1 had filler fights? Oh boy, just play Kiwami 2. But yeah, there's really not much to say. Just deal with them as you do. Something I will say, actually, now that I think about it. Sorry, jump scare. Sledgehammer guys, not that bad. They are not very threatening compared to the fist guys. Fist guys are definitely more dangerous than the sledgehammer guys just because the sledgehammer guys attack very slow. So if there's anyone you want to prioritize the fist guys. And I think this is actually the last guy. I lied, there's one more because they just spawn in not at the same time. They spawn in at intervals, which is really annoying. Also, use these barrels to your advantage. I didn't realize there were barrels here, but this would speed up the fight a lot. Now we have Hayashi. Good fight! Good fight. Now, what I do is I pop a heat action in extreme heat mode. We do this heat action to get him down 1.5 bars of health. And now we just kind of have to do a normal combo on him to get him down to another health bar, which will activate his QTE. One thing I will say about Hayashi, I really don't like his fist phase. His fist phase feels really unpredictable to me, and it's just not... I don't want to say it's fun, but it can definitely be dangerous. Now here we have the QTE. Also, you don't have to get him exactly to 4 health bars down or 3 health bars down, but just something around that area. Now here, I really want to get him out of this phase just because extreme heat in this hand-to-hand mode can be, I don't want to say threatening, but I found that I've lost my no damages way more during his hand-to-hand mode than I did on his Kali Sticks fight, or Kali Sticks like moveset. I am playing very passive here just because it is just absurd how aggressive he gets, but really you can do combos on this guy. There's no reason not to. He is a very comboable boss, if that makes sense. Like, you can, it's not hard at all to combo him. And we want to get him down to his Kali Stick phase, which is now. Look at that timing. Now, a lot of people really don't like the soundtrack they use for Hayashi in this game, and I'm not going to say I disagree because Hayashi's OG soundtrack is much better than this. This is a very boring soundtrack to go with him, but it's not that big of a deal to me. Does it ruin this fight? No, this is still a pretty fun fight, I would say. Now, Kali Stick Hayashi, his attacks feel much slower and much less threatening as a result. But I also think he doesn't have hyper armor, but I definitely play a little more passive here. That flip he does, just Tiger Drop it. It's the same, it is the same timing as Majima's flip when he does his rush combo. Here we go ahead and get a combo out. Something I should mention is when you're doing that combo, if you see the enemy stand up in a sort of more fixed posture, just back up, because that means they've reset, they're no longer stunned, and they will block your attack. Or just retaliate. I will say though, I really do like Hayashi. He was a fun fight. Like, okay, there, for example. Very close to losing out that, the no damage just because, he just got hyper armor out of nowhere. And as you can see, I'm playing much more passive as a result because I don't want to be screwed over by it. When he does that attack, you have the time to go ahead and do some sort of heat action just because he is standing still. Go ahead and do another taunt. Just get our heat back so we can go into extreme heat mode. I got insanely lucky there, as you can tell. I have no idea how I didn't get hit there, but we take those. Something I want to mention with this fight is, as you can see, it's very much the same thing over and over again. Definition of insanity, holy sheesh. But as a result, this is kind of how the later fights would have gone, with even more hyper armor, I should add. And as a result, that's why some of the later fights might not be as flashy as this one. Not that this one is necessarily flashy, right? You can pretty much tell what I'm going to do. But I guess this fight's a pretty good explanation of how I will play on the later bosses. Go ahead and do the ultimate essence heat action here. I think I repeat this heat action, I'm not gonna lie. Not on purpose, but because this heat action is just very easy to do, and as a result, I repeat it, which I'm sorry about. Yeah, like this heat action, the only requirement for this heat action is extreme heat and full health. And it just makes it a very easy heat action to do. So I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry about repeating it, I should say. I don't know why I dodged there, I didn't really need to. But as this fight is just a rush combo into... I lied, there we go, that's to feel the heat. But yeah, if you kind of want to know how the rest of the later game fights would have went, kind of like the Hayashi fight, and I'd rather not bore you by making you watch that 10 million times. But this Feel the Heat, man, like I said with the Feel the Heats, I kind of sucks that not all of them are unique, but this one is a banger. This one's really good. Just a banger. That one's a great Feel the Heat. Shangri-La. This long battle might be the most horrific long battle in the existence of this game. This is truly this is a bad long battle. Take what I've told you about how to deal with enemies in the other long battles and apply it here for the most part. Now here I will go ahead and pop ultimate heat, or extreme heat, sorry, and I will do the triple heat action where I take out 3 guys at once. Now it won't take out the guy that holds the pipe, but it will leave him very low so you can just kick him. Now with the fat guy, we just do a heat action on him. And that's that room done with. Now here I do use weapons. I use the unlimited weapons. And this is just because I don't want to waste your guys' time, so I'd rather just get it done. Now if you think that like invalidates it because I have more heat, I don't use heat actions in this section as a result because I don't want that to have been a factor. Really, I don't want to waste your guys' time, so I'm using the sword here. This first floor is really not bad. Go ahead and use the crowbar on this guy, Amano. I like using it specifically on Amano because I didn't learn how he fights. But then with these two, you want to get one hit off, at least one charge hit on one of them at least, and I will tell you why. Now we go ahead and do the duo heat action here. I lied because for some reason Kiwami 2 has weird, not pacing, distancing for that type of stuff. We take out the Chinese saber guy and use the saber on this fat guy here. Now for this next part, we go ahead and take out this barricade. And now the most horrific part of this long battle ensues. This room is horrible, and I will explain why. The quote-unquote boss they have here, the mini-boss, has one of the worst movesets possible. He has Hangman's moveset, which is like the insane monkey guy from Yakuza 6. His moveset is horrible because, one, he's relentless, and he will break your guard with every attack, and you don't have time to re-guard in some cases. He will grab you when he wants to. Like that attack, you physically can't block. You have to dodge it. You can't hit him. You have to make sure he's not guarding when you hit him because he will do a guard break of his own, and there goes your no damage. GG. This guy is horrible. This one guy made me fail so many attempts that he is not. I don't know why they would use this moveset. It's a horrible moveset. Now we have the knife guys, which honestly aren't that bad from if you know what to do or if you're planning how to take them out. For this guy, I would recommend doing a quick dodge attack just because not doing that doesn't work. Also, as you can see, when you block, you get heat back from these guys, and as a result, I allow myself to use the taunt here just to save time, and I really don't want to waste your guys' time here. This video is long enough as is. For the rest of these guys, we just go ahead and heat action them like no tomorrow, just because we have so many weapons here to deal with them in that regard, so just use as many heat actions as possible. And there, once again, is so many enemies in these rooms. I really don't like how Kiwami 2 did its long battles. It just feels bloated for no reason. I don't know, maybe someone might disagree with that take, but it really doesn't feel like these enemies really add substance. They're just kind of there to be there. Yeah, there's also guys back there. There's so many guys, man. It's kind of absurd how many enemies you really have to fight. These guys aren't bad, just be careful with this dagger guy, just because dagger moveset is gross. That's really the best way to put it. Yeah, I don't like the dagger moveset at all. Otherwise, this fight really isn't that bad. Remember just to use your weapons because they are here for a reason. They are here for you to use them. And for this pipe guy, you can honestly just take the pipe guy out with a normal rush combo. In fact, I would recommend that so you can keep your heat. But I guess heat doesn't necessarily matter just because you have this knife guy here, so you could block and just regain your heat that way. But still, you want to keep some weapons, is what I will say. Now, of course, this would not be Kiwami 2 without a fat guy waiting for you. You also just do another taunt because, like I said, no reason not to. By the way, the Switchblade heat action, very brutal, but it does a lot of damage. So if you are playing with weapons, like equipable weapons and things like that, I would recommend using the Switchblade. It has such a high damage for its heat action, and it will take out most guys in one shot. Now here, specifically with this long battle, you want to enter the room, then leave it as soon as possible. Use the Nameless Katana to take out one guy. Here I forgot that the Nameless Katana has less durability just because some guy was using it. Now, there is a heat action you could do that I don't do here, where you could just throw someone off the hole where the knife guy was, if that makes sense. I don't do it just because it's kind of a hassle to grab the guy and all that, whatever, yeah. Now we have to deal with this knife guy. And there he goes. That is the one knife guy in this room. And once you're done with him, you don't have to worry about him. Now just keep doing heat actions on all these guys and you will be chilling. Now here I go ahead and use the taunt to fill up my heat. I will just say that right now. Once again, I don't want to waste your guys' time by just taunting repeatedly with these guys. I'd rather just speed it up. If that's something you dislike, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry. I was talking about how good the dagger heat action is with its damage, but there obviously didn't one-shot the guy, but it is what it is. Yeah, a lot of this fight is just use heat actions. Use them as much as you can. Now here what I will say is there is a way to get heat easily. And you'll see I will go into my inventory. I will switch out my Kali sticks for katanas. Both of these katanas you can get within this part of the game, just so you know. You could rather buy them, or I think one of them is actually from the Nouvelle Riche you get them. Now, you take the shield here, and this is how you would get your heat normally if you don't have the taunt. You just keep fighting this guy, and he will give you heat because you block his attacks. This next room looks bad, but it's not, especially if you have the sword, which if you are struggling with this room, use a sword. It will help a lot. And I will say here, there is a cut here. Just want to let you know, I'm just going to be fully transparent. There is a cut at this section. But what you do is you go up to these guys, you quick step hit them, you take out your katana, not that one, this katana, and you swing. One thing I will say is if you don't want a quick step strike, or for some reason you don't have quick step strike, which what are you doing? It is one of the best moves in this game. You can just use the sword on the gun guys back here instead of doing the quick strike step. It also works very well. Now you have this knife guy. I don't think you have to take him out, but I think for safety I take him out. I use a switchblade here. One thing I want to say specifically, just because I know someone probably doesn't know this, there are cinder blocks scattered all around this map that are seemingly used to help you take care of the throwing knife guys. Do not use them. You cannot block using these weapons, using the cinder blocks. You will get hit using the cinder blocks. So use literally anything else. As for this next part, I go ahead and pick up a crowbar and you'll see exactly why. This room has 2 throwing knife guys and a guy with a couch. So the way I would recommend dealing with this is dealing with the throwing knife guys first. Now, what I will tell you is you have to be right at the edge here. Because I'm on the edge of my seat. Holy sheesh. No, but you want to be right on the edge here because if you don't, Kiryu will be a complete moron and throw the crowbar at this couch guy instead. So yeah, you want to go ahead and get as close as you can to the edge of that hole so you can get rid of the knife guys and instead of the couch guy. I know some people try to do the couch guy first, but honestly, I think this way is more consistent. Because now couch guy is free, he's not that hard to take out. I use a sword because I don't waste your guys' time. But yeah, this guy really isn't bad once you realize how you're supposed to do it. Now, we have the Kuze Pipe guy. This moveset sucks. This entire section sucks. Why? Because the guys you just killed with the knives are back. Did you hear that knife? Yes, they're back. This section sucks. It's horrible. Don't feel bad to cheese it. Use weapons. Use whatever you need to. Because this is not a good section. It is horrible. Horrible. Go ahead and take this crowbar here and just heat action him out of this game. Horrible section. Genuinely one of the worst sections in this game. And that is the Shangri-La boss battle. Also, I just want to say there were a few cuts there if you were paying attention. There was a cut for the, I'm just going to call it the AIDS room, and there was a cut for the Kuze Pipe guy. Like I said, I want to be as transparent as possible because I don't want you guys thinking I did this all in one take. These long battles are annoying. But this is the end of the long battle. And now you have the boss at the end, which is holding Daigo. This fight, really not that bad. So what I would recommend is you take care of the gun guys first. The gun guys are the biggest threat, actually. So take care of the gun guys. Everyone else is really not that bad. And you have Kaoru here. She will help you with this fight. You know, thanks Kaoru, excuse me. It was very helpful that you didn't do anything for the entire long battle. But yeah, this is really not that bad of a fight at all. It's disheartening when you do the entire thing and now you're left with these guys and then you get clipped, but otherwise not that bad. This Switchblade guy, not that big of a deal, just don't get hit is the best advice I can give here. I'm being very careful here because I think it was like 2 AM when I did this fight and I was so over Shangri-La.
This fight here wasn't really that bad. There's a little, I guess, intro to it, but you have this sword guy and 3 lackeys, I guess. Not a bad fight, really. The sword guy can be a little unpredictable sometimes, but really just bounding throughout the start here, and you'll be fine. Like I said with Kiwami too, I noticed with a lot of the enemy sort of aggression is that at the very beginning of the fight they're not aggressive at all, so you could get some sort of combo off, maybe some risky heat action off, and as a result, you can do some good damage or good crowd control, whatever you want to do in that situation. By the way, if my voice sounds a little different, it's because it's the next morning and I am recording right after I woke up. So yeah. Before this guy is really not that bad. You have some weapons to utilize for heat actions. He doesn't go into heat mode. And, I mean, you can do a lot of damage. Now we have Shindo's goons. This fight isn't bad, per se. It's just very annoying. So you have the katana guys, which you can't block. Even though they're wooden katanas, you can't block wooden katanas, which is kind of silly, but, you know, it is what it is. But this first part's really not that bad. Bounding, throw, heat action, do whatever you need to do to get rid of these guys. They are relatively passive, as long as you get used to the sword moveset. If you're used to it, then you'll be okay. But there's really not that much else to say about this fight, or this part of the fight. The next part, however, oh man, the next part is way more, I don't know how to say, like, intricate, but it's definitely, you need to be more careful. We go ahead and do a dual heat action here. I don't really like this heat action, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's nice that we have it, because it gives you more options for heat actions, but visually, I don't know. I don't think it really looks that good. It's just my opinion, though. If you like it, you like it. So what I would do is I would grab the katana here. I lied. First, yeah, okay, I guess I do. You can break that in one shot if you have the katana. And now for these enemies up here, every single one of these enemies is super aggressive. So be careful. That's why I'm taking my time. I am kiting them one by one, or as much as I can. I'm trying to isolate them, because these guys are very aggressive. Specifically Shimura here, he has a very, I don't know which moveset this is. I'm almost certain it is a boss moveset though. If not a boss moveset, then it is a reused moveset from an older goon. Yamaguchi here has less health than Shimura, so you can take care of him very easily. But Shimura, he is he is the devil, man. He is so aggressive. I don't know why, but he just is. So I would definitely recommend taking your time here against these two. And then you have the fat guy in the back. He's not too fast, so you can just kind of deal with everyone else before you deal with him. Once again, Kiwami health bars, or Kiwami 2 health bars specifically, excuse me, being very misleading. I really don't like the health bars in this game, man, because it's just like, it feels like a heat action should one-shot them, and then it doesn't. Also, I was trying to do the duo heat action, but unfortunately, Sakurai here was a little too far, and I didn't want to risk it. And I don't want to risk it either, or I still don't want to risk it, excuse me. So instead of actually fighting him, I'm going to go back here, because I know there's vases and tables and stuff like that, and we're just going to do heat actions on him, because we have such a giant heat bar. So yeah, the first part of this fight with the guys with the swords and everything, not too bad. But the second part, you should be a little more careful. Those guys are a little more aggressive, and as a result, it is something to take care about. But really, I don't know, this guy just has a lot of health. It feels a little unnecessary how much health he has, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just like a normal goon, man. There's no reason for him to have so much health that not even 2 heat actions is killing him. That's the one thing about Kiwami, and I suppose Yakuza 6 as well. It's just like, it's absurd how much health some of these goons have. Not that I think it's challenging, but it's just boring. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Like, it just feels boring. And there goes Sakurai. And now we have Shindo. Just so you know, I didn't do this in one take. I didn't do this, like, battle into Shindo in one take. I did all of Shindo in one take, I should specify. Just because Shindo is a little weird. I'll just say that. He's a little weird. So, with Shindo, I don't start off with a charged square attack into a combo, because I found that he would, hit me, he would like do a dodge hit on me every single time, so I found it more consistent here to grab this couch, do a couch attack on him, let him stand up, and then do a heat action. Now, once you do the heat action, you can do square triangle into a bounding throw, or not. This is the one attempt where it didn't happen. That is kind of ironic. My successful attempt being the one where that doesn't happen. But yeah, once he gets down to his 3rd health bar, he usually will retreat. Now here I open the door here and grab this table. Now this is because you can actually bring this table over to Shindo and just do a heat action on him, which is very nice. And if you're lucky, which I don't know if I was lucky here, maybe I was, I think you could get some extra damage off, because right now once he's in the 2nd health bar he should leave, but sometimes AI messes up and instead you can get some more damage off. And here I'm trying to set up for a tiger drop, because you can tiger drop his attacks pretty easily if you know what you're expecting. And it's nice. So yeah, we have taken out a lot of his health at this point. So now he's going to be in heat mode. So once we get to the, the Toja Clan, what is it, courtyard, I want to say, he's going to be heat mode, he's going to be all red and stuff. But because we've taken out a lot of his health, it shouldn't be too bad. Now that being said, it is heat mode, so he does get a reduced damage intake. Damage reduction? You know what I'm trying to say, he takes less damage. But we have a chair here, so we're going to use that chair to do another heat action on him. We're not repeating heat actions, which is really nice. For at least this part of the fight, it's really nice. Like, man, I did a quarter of his health, that's absurd. At this point, I was a little worried because this was actually a very nice run, so I didn't want to, just screw it over. Go ahead and do a pretty basic combo on him. And here I wanted to do a heat action on him, like a ground heat action. But because of Dragon Engine physics, I got scared and I didn't do it. And the reason I got scared is because I had a previous attempt where, because of Dragon Engine physics, I couldn't do a heat action and I was stuck in an animation of some attack, and that caused him to hit me. Now here, I was like, man, Shindo's like one tap away from, the QTE. So I just started throwing stuff at him. And as you can see, it is varying levels of success, but even more so, he's not going into his QTE, which I think is because his QTE is at like 30% health. Like 30% of a health bar. And he also just didn't take damage there for some reason. So I got annoyed and I was like, alright man, I'm just gonna punch you. Yeah, I mean, I got really annoyed, so I just stopped throwing stuff at him. And I don't think, I think this next one actually, he goes, yeah, okay. So now we get into the QTE. Shindo fight, very good. His track is very good. It's a really good fight. Once again, as much as I like this fight, it's a very good fight. It does get ruined by the fact it's out high FPS, just because you can't be as consistent. But this QTE is pretty cool, so I don't mind. Especially really cool compared to the Yakuza 2, what's it called, the Yakuza 2 kind of section, like that QT. So here, I'm just taking a selfie, but this is kind of just to show I did this all in one take. I go ahead and want to take a selfie with Yayo, just because like I realized I could. By the way, I should mention here that you can actually save at this point. So let's say, for example, you are doing a legend playthrough, or let's say you have to go to like work or something, you can actually save right now. And in fact, I think I do. Yeah, you could save right here. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or if you're doing no damages like I did, let's say you don't want to redo the entire Shindo fight, you can just reload your save here, which is really helpful actually. I'm very surprised they gave you that decision. But as we know with the Shindo fight, just because you took out Shindo doesn't mean you took him out. So we go ahead and go back to, what, like the conference room of the Tojo Clan building? I don't know what this is. I go ahead and I save again, I think. Or I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Yeah. But now we go ahead and do the second part of Shindo's fight. Now, if you hit that QTE, which you have to, or else you'll take damage, this leaves Shindo stunned. Now, what you can do, no nonsense, is just an uppercut, which allows you to do an extreme heat action. And now, we have furniture. So use the furniture. You have a couch, and you have a table, so you don't have to repeat heat actions, and you'll always do more damage. Oh, that's what I was talking about in the beginning. What you can do is, once you do a heat action, he's on the floor, you can do square triangle into a bounding throw, which leaves him on the ground, which is very helpful. And now we feel the heat him. And that's Shindo. Once again, a really good fight. I was a really big fan of this fight. Genuinely, it's a very good fight. Very good track. Once again, just wish I could have done it at 30 FPS. Now we have the old Shogi Player. Once again, this is one of those where it's like, he's just a guy. So, I don't know why he has such a big health bar. It's very annoying, actually. Like, at least give him a boss health bar. Oh yeah, we have the leak heat action, huh? But yeah, like, at this point, I think I would have just preferred if they gave him a regular, like, boss health bar. Because then at least I could gauge my damage better. I guess that's my problem with these health bars. You can't really gauge your damage that much. You just kind of have to assume you're doing good damage. Which I just hate. I hate it. Because, like, you know, boss health bar is consistent, right? You can, like, gauge how much damage you're doing. But with these guys, you just can't tell. And it's just very annoying. But really, this fight isn't anything, to be honest. He's just got a knife. You try to kick that cone, which is terrifying. Gotta love the AI in this game. But yeah, there's not much else to say about this fight except get it done. He's not that big of a threat. His moveset's really not that bad. He's just kind of a guy. I have no idea how he got out of that bounding throw. I am very lucky I was able to get that counter attack heat action off. But now he's like, he's pretty much, he's done. He's over. And I actually decide to go and try to find something to use for a heat action. But then I realized, oh, there's nothing. I know there's that bench, but I think I didn't want to repeat heat actions. So I just kind of, oh, never mind. I just pick it up because I was tired. And there goes old Shogi Player. Not a very good fight, but it's in the game, so we're going to do it. It's really just kind of an unnecessary fight. This fight, okay, I'm going to say it straight up. This fight, I had my attack. I raised my attack to 222. This fight is awful. What you want to do is grab a shogi table and use it to hurt every single guy in the proximity because they are huddled up really close. Then, what you want to do is, I don't know why that happens, use a heat action to get rid of Sim, the quote-unquote mini-boss here. Now you want to take your focus onto the actual knife guys, because these guys all throw knives! Isn't that fun? Yeah, these guys all throw knives. I don't know what their obsession was with letting people throw knives in this game, but it is obnoxious. But yeah, you want to get rid of the knife guys. I would recommend using shogi tables because 1, you can dodge the knives with it, and 2, they just do a lot of damage. And now we're in a situation where we're kind of chilling. There's not too many guys here, which is super nice. Now here we do a duo heat action with Kaoru. I like this heat action, it's very nice. And now we're just left with this guy over here. But yeah, I would recommend do not take them head on at the beginning because they are very aggressive. I know I said how at the beginning usually the bosses are super passive, but in some cases they're not, such as this one. So instead I recommend going for the shogi table immediately and destroying them. Now we have, I don't know this guy's name. I think I tabbed out so I could see if I was recording. Onishi. Yeah, this guy's not bad. He has a pretty simple moveset. It's probably a Yakuza 3 moveset. I don't know for sure though. But I'm just assuming it's Yakuza 3 because they love to reuse Yakuza 3 movesets. Although I don't know for sure. By the way, one thing that genuinely bothers me about this game, and I guess any Dragon Engine game, is 1, you can't really escape boss grabs, which is super aggravating. And 2nd, that some grabs will just damage you. Like, you don't have to actually, you know, have been grabbed and thrown. No, just the grab can damage you, and it's super annoying. But for this guy, I mean, his moveset wasn't too bad. I think I did this first try, actually. His moveset isn't too bad. It's pretty, it's a pretty easy moveset to play around with. He's very predictable with his telegraphing and things like that. Not bad. And obviously, you know, block and dodge and everything. I will say, though, it is kind of fun. This fight's kind of fun. I like it being in the Gulf Center. But yeah, this guy's not too bad. But remember, there is no field of heat here, so you just kind of have to get this fight done with. But I think at this point, I was either really annoyed, so I just did a heat action on him, or something else like that. Yeah, like, his moves are super telegraphed, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Nice little tiger drop at the end here. I think I tiger drop him again, actually. Yup. I don't know what it is about Dragon Engine tiger dropping that's so satisfying, but it's just so satisfying, man. Now we have this fight against Kurokawa. Throw him in the lake. There's not much to say. Now, you could just throw all these guys in the lake, and I wouldn't fault you. This is a fight that gets dragged out quite a lot if you're not doing that. Go ahead and tiger drop that guy. Very nice. Now, I want to take this fat guy specifically because I want to push him off the lake too, so I don't have to deal with him. Now, you just have 3 grunts, and just get rid of them. They have really big health bars for no reason. I really don't like the group fights in this game, man. It just feels super drawn out, and I don't know. It's just uninteresting in my opinion. But we're left with these 2 guys now, and I don't think there's any more signs, so I'm just gonna keep tiger dropping. Although to be fair, I guess the fights aren't drawn out. I just have low damage. Still though, I don't know, man. Compared to like Yakuza 0 or Yakuza Kiwami, these group fights just don't feel as good to play. This last guy, I kind of just want to tiger drop him because that's what I've been doing mostly. And he goes down. Not a bad fight, just slightly annoying because it drags. Esaki. Now, Esaki is literally just the old Shogi player. I'm almost certain they have the same moveset, so don't even worry about him. So this is just another one of those boring fights that are dragged out for no reason. So here we are. And once again, it's just like, just give me the boss health bar, man. It just, you can gauge how much damage you're doing so much more than this. It's just, there's something very unsatisfying looking at like an average grunt's health bar, and it doesn't go down at the same rate as a boss health bar. I don't know if it's some sort of like psychological thing, but it just feels like you're doing less damage, and it just feels so unsatisfying as a result. But Esaki is really not that bad. like I said, he has the old Shogi Player like knife moveset, which I think is just a reused moveset in general, but it's not hard to fight him. It's pretty easy. I mean, it's such a slow moveset, so very easy telegraphs, and it's pretty easy to tiger drop, but I kind of was getting bored here, so there goes Esaki. Now I want to say, we have the lions, by the way, the tiger. Now as you'll see, I have muscle soda. I use muscle soda to run back here because I accidentally loaded a save, but you will see that I do actually use gear here to raise my attack. Now the reason for this is very simple. The lions, oh my god, the tigers are not a good fight. And it's not that they're hard per se, they're actually very easy. But it's such a boring fight that I don't want you to watch it for more than you have to. In fact, I should have just popped another muscle soda here, because this fight is insufferable, man. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just doing charge square on each of these tigers. And that's literally the strat. Just do charge square when you can. Don't do anything else. Now, theoretically, you should whittle their health down one by one. So you punch one tiger, then you punch the other. And the reason I would recommend doing it this way is because at some point, they're going to go into red heat. Red heat, by the way, they get like the heat aura. I should be more specific. And the thing that's annoying about that is obviously, increased damage, which doesn't really matter in our case, but they also have damage reduction. And I would rather we have a lion, oh my god, a tiger at the red health bar than the yellow health bar. So I'd rather them have one health bar than two. That's why I'm kind of just taking them down kind of at the same time. Because this fight, it already drags on, but I don't want it to drag on even longer because I didn't prioritize both a lot. I keep saying lion. I'm just gonna call them lions, bro. Whatever. I didn't want to prioritize both lions at the same time, or because I didn't. So yeah, I would recommend you fight them both at the same time. Get their health bars as low as you can before you get into the QTE, because as soon as you get into the QTE, one of the lions will attack you, and will just be deleted from this fight. One thing I will say that I will give props for the lions is their telegraphs are very clear. They have very clear telegraphs, so you don't have to worry about when you should be dodging or not, because they will quite literally tell you they are going to be dodging or not. One thing that's annoying about them is their hitbox, because not their like attack hitbox per se, but like just their hitbox, because you really here's the QTE, by the way. The reason I don't like their hitbox is because it feels like you have a clear opening, but then it just misses. And I think that's because they want you to do normal punches on them, but normal punches just bounce off, and it feels awful to play. By the way, we're on the halfway mark of this fight. I'm looking at my editing software. This is halfway. Having fun yet? Awesome. But yeah, with this QTE, we can get rid of this lion. And there's that. We're just left with one more. I pause here. I tab out to make sure I was recording, just because that's something I always worry about if I'm not recording. Oh, by the way, now that lion is a solid piece of the battle or the arena. So now you have to worry about the fact that did he despawn? Oh my god, he despawned. Never mind. But yeah, as you can see, I'm doing way less damage with my charge attacks. He is in red heat. It doesn't show the lion is in red heat, but he is in red heat. And also, I still can't get over the fact that lion just despawned. That's crazy. Also, I should mention that in this phase, they do have another attack that makes them slightly more aggressive. It's this one where they do like little like pounces like that. They can do up to 3, I noticed. I don't know if they can go up to 4, but at most they can do 3 of those. But other than that, it's really just, just make distance and you'll be okay. Really, this fight it's not very good. Honestly, none of the lion fights are good. None of the beast fights are good, except the Yakuza 5's bear. That's an awesome fight. I'm gonna be honest. I like that fight. And Pirate Yakuza made them better, at least. Your punches don't just bounce off lines and stuff. But otherwise, yeah, these are not very. None of the beast fights are very good. See, like right there, he did 3. And as you can see there, I did a normal punch, and as a result, I bounced off the tiger.
But this fight isn't bad, it's just very boring. But thankfully we do have a field of heat here. We will get field of heat on this lion, because of course we will, it's a freaking lion. Just takes a while, but we'll get there. I'm so sorry, excuse me. Just this fight, also with the fact that I woke up like not that long ago. So yeah. That's what I mean by the hitboxes, by the way. They just miss sometimes, and it's the most insufferable thing in the world. It's bad. It's bad. But I think here I was just like, let's just get this over with. And yeah, there we go, Field of Heat. And this Field of Heat's pretty cool, but of course it is, right? It's a lion. They're gonna make it look cool. And you literally tiger drop the lion. So that's pretty cool to see. Or tiger drop, that's, you know what I'm trying to say. A spectacle, very cool. Actual fight, bad. Now this is the fight where a rival agency tries to contract Haruka, and they're like harassing her about it. Once again, this is one of those nothing burger fights, but I thought I'd include it because it is technically a unique fight. But these guys are also very boring, and this fight is very dragged out because of how big their health bars are. Here I pop extreme heat so I could do the group heat action. This heat action, you know, I actually like discovered you could do this heat action on accident, which is kind of funny, if you would imagine. I just like grabbed one guy one time in extreme heat, and I just got like, oh hey, that's a really cool heat action. So this makes me very excited for Yakuza 6, because I know Yakuza 6 pretty much every heat action is done in extreme heat. So it will be cool to see like what I can do with that game. And I hope I don't think 60 FPS is as big of a deal on Yakuza 6. If it is, let me know. Guess I'll have to, in that case I would have to hook up my own strats for that game too, but hopefully not. But yeah, these guys aren't bad. They're just like normal grunts. They just have an absurd amount of health. And that's this fight done. Now we have the Jingweon Car Chase. This isn't a bad fight. You just have to get really lucky, because with this fight, there is something very specific about it. These guys can fall off the car or truck or whatever, and that instantly kills them. That is something I will utilize for a majority of this fight, because it is just a very useful thing to do. So realistically, you want to bounding throw them off this off the truck. Now what I would recommend is you actually aim for the tires, because the tires just consistently have the best chance of just taking them out. Something I will note though is when you're bounding throwing, or you know what I'm trying to say, when you're doing a bounding throw, you want to do the square triangle one the most, or you just want to do a normal grab throw. You don't want to do the square triangle grab throw that holds them by the leg, because they're closer to the floor, which one could mess up because of dragging in physics, causing them to just stop because they've collided into something, or they just won't get enough air and they won't actually fall through the tires. But here we only have really two guys left, so we just kind of take them out as is. You see what I mean? That's why you don't want to aim for the that's why you want to aim for the tires, because there's an invisible wall there. Now we have the second part. This part is a little more annoying because you have two gun guys and a guy throwing grenades at you. What is the Jingweon's problem? Genuinely. Their lore really isn't explained that much in this game, other than, oh, we have a creed, which is kind of lazy writing, I'm gonna be honest. But I suppose this game, all these games have some sort of lazy writing, right? But seriously, what is their problem? I don't know. Other than, I guess, you know, Kazuma and Shimano, like, slaughtering them, but that was years ago, man, come on. But really the most annoying part about this fight is having to deal with the grenade guy, just because you have to be aware of not only the gun guys, which are, to be fair, are pretty easy to deal with because they can one-shot them essentially, but you'll have to deal with now a physical projectile being thrown at you, and you have to deal with the fact that there's, you know, grenades that will blow up.
Not to mention that I don't know what it is about Kiwami 2. Maybe this also applies to Yakuza 6. But I swear, throwing items, it feels awful in this game. It doesn't feel direct. It doesn't feel accurate. It just kind of feels luck-based. It's obviously it's not luck-based, but it doesn't feel good. It feels really bad. So as you can see, that's why I'm taking my time with this guy, because it's just kind of insufferable. Because then you'll have throws like that where you just kind of miss. And it's just like, well, I guess I'll go screw myself. So go ahead and grab this grenade. And thankfully, this one actually hits him. Now, as you can tell, there is a cut, just because music reset and everything. This guy is awful. This guy is using an Ishin moveset. Thank you, I'm on the edge of my seat for informing me about this. And by informing me, I mean I watched this video to see what he did with these guys. But yeah, this guy is using an Ishin moveset. And as a result, Ishin movesets being reused in normal Yakuza games, never a good combination. But we just heat action him and just take him out as quickly as possible. Now, I will say, you can throw this guy off the truck, so you don't even have to do a heat action here. And honestly, that is preferable, especially if you're trying to do this in one take. Because this next part, as you can see, I have Muscle Soda, by the way. Hey, hey. Yeah, this next part is Man in Black 2. Now, at this point, I was doing Man in Black 2 specifically for hours. Hours. And I realized something. He's not physically impossible to do at high FPS, but the fight would be so boring that I would rather just delete him here. And obviously, like I said, because enemies or bosses are very passive at the beginning of the fight, you can just do whatever you want. And in this case, we one-shot him. I'm sorry if you, once again, were expecting something with Man in Black fights. It's just not happening on high FPS. You can't combo this guy consistently and reliably. So instead, we're just going to one-shot him, which is in the realm of this game. You can do this. Muscle Soda is a very cheap thing you can have. It's very nice. Now we have Kurahashi, who we also just one-shot. Now, I'm just going to say it. This guy sucks to fight. He sucks to fight. And it's not because, you know, he himself is annoying. It's a combination of the fact that he has that really annoying gun moveset, and then on top of that, he has other goons here, so you can't really do heat actions on him consistently or reliably, because one, he'll dodge consistently, or he'll block, or he'll kick you because you're too close, and on top of that, you have to deal with other guys around him, which is very obnoxious. So this is another one of those fights where I decided, okay, let me just delete everybody. If that's something you're not a fan of, I apologize. But maybe if it was at 30 FPS, I could have done something. But it's not like Kurahashi is like a insanely epic fight to watch either. His fight's honestly pretty nothing. It's a pretty nothing burger fight, to say the least. But that is Kurahashi out of the way. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Okay, now we have the Go-Ryu Clan Invasions. These fights suck, man. Because every single one of the main guys has a moveset that is, I don't want to say aggressive. Okay, to be fair, this guy does have a pretty aggressive moveset. They reuse this moveset even in Pirate Yakuza, by the way. But they have movesets that fit. That was a really nice tiger drop, by the way. I was really happy with that tiger drop. But they have movesets that complement the area you're fighting them in and complement the lackeys they have with them. So this guy has a super hyper aggressive, like punching and kicking sort of a moveset, and it really does complement being in Bantam, because one, he can just kick a lot of stuff in the way and like hit you with it, or he can overwhelm you, and you have knife guys, so you can't block everything, which is very annoying. This guy has Kuze's moveset, and we have Kuze's moveset, we have a gun, and we have a katana. Now, granted, this fight's not as bad as the first one. This one's actually much easier. However, it can still be pretty tricky, especially with the katana guy having as much health as he does. But overall, this fight's really not that bad. My recommendation, get rid of the... I don't know how I didn't get hit there, by the way. I got very lucky. My recommendation is getting rid of the gun guy as quickly as possible, because gun guys really ruin your flow when fighting bosses, and they're overall the most annoying to deal with. But once you have just these two guys left, it's really not that bad. I will say though, I think out of the two I would... Oh my gosh, that was close. Out of the two though, I would much rather fight Kuze's moveset than the previous guy's moveset. I wanted to parry this guy, but it wasn't happening, so I just kind of go for the heat action. Or I try... Not... Yeah, I just kind of just go for the heat action. But overall, this fight isn't as bad as the first one. And it's definitely not as bad as the last fight we're going to do. Or the next fight, excuse me. Speaking of which, I guess we're going to have to move on to the next fight. This fight sucks. And I will explain why. Mostly because of 180 FPS, but also because there's a gun guy who has a lot of health for some reason. So what I like to do to start off this fight, I like to use this couch cushion or whatever. Oh, I guess it's a stool. I like to use that to kind of ragdoll as many enemies as possible, given how Dragon Engine physics work. And this allows you to do very good damage against many enemies. Now you're left with not too many enemies. We have two sword guys and the main guy here, who is using Daigo's moveset. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. He's using Daigo's moveset from Yakuza 4. And honestly, there's nothing really wrong with this moveset, but it's kind of a pain when you have a moveset that can be very aggressive. Not that it's necessarily a problem that's a very aggressive moveset, but you have that moveset combined with the fact that you have these katana guys here that hug him consistently. Like, if this was a one-on-one fight, it wouldn't be too bad, but because now you have this dagger guy and you have the sword guy, this fight becomes a lot more threatening because you can block all of his attacks, all of the, like, Daigo moveset attacks. You can't block swords, unfortunately. Luckily, we get this heat action off and we take out the dagger guy, leaving us with only the sword guy with not too much health left. Really though, this fight can be very annoying because of just... Like I said, the enemies complement each other super well. I don't know what he kicked there. Don't ask. He kicked something. Now we're kind of just left with this guy, and I just use heat actions with the weapons that were drops to kind of take care of most of his health. Because another thing is, like, I don't know why this guy randomly does this, but he just hyper armors sometimes. It's very annoying. By the way, that like Superman punch he does, you can parry very consistently, and it's very nice. As long as you're in distance, you can parry it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this guy, he'll have like very weird hyper armor sometimes when you're doing a combo. Obviously, the charge squares I'm doing aren't making him stumble, so I'm not continuing the combo. But even when you can continue the combo, man, it's very absurd. Go ahead and do the parry heat action. I really like this heat action. It's a very clean heat action. Now at this point, you're probably wondering why I'm not using any other heat actions, like the weapons I should say. It's because I don't want to repeat them, so I didn't want to use another sword heat action. Luckily there's a dagger here, so we're going to use that dagger to our advantage. Now he's super low. One thing else I also will say about this guy is sometimes when he blocks, he will retaliate immediately, leaving very little room for you to actually do anything. And it sucks. Like, he can be super aggressive when you're not expecting it, and it's horrible. But yeah, there's this fight done with. Not a great fight. It's not as bad as other fights, but it's very annoying. Now we have the final Jingweon? Yeah, long battle. I like this fight a lot. It's very cool. As something, and once I said, like, something I really do appreciate about these older, with these group fights here, or these long battles, is they realize that the group fights drag out, so they make their health as low as possible. That is something I will give them credit for. Like, you can one-shot these guys pretty consistently with this sign here. Very nice. And that is essentially the strategy I'm going to use. I'm going to use these bigger sort of items and just kind of take out who I can. Very nice. It's funny when you just throw a sign at a guy. I don't know. Now we're going to go into this next section. We're just going to employ the same strategy, not much changes. But this time instead of using signs, you have to use bicycles. Not that there's anything wrong with using bicycles, but their length is slightly shorter, and as a result, your range of I guess your area of effect with the bicycle is not as significant as it is with the sign, but it's really not that big of a deal. Also, they will kick stuff, so be careful about that. Almost got hit with that bicycle as a result. But I just look for another bike, and that's pretty much everyone done with. Now, for this next section, you have to be careful, because these guys have shotguns and pistols. Well, specifically, one guy has a pistol, one guy has a shotgun. The way I would deal with this is very simple. You do a heat action on the pistol guy, and then the shotgun guy, you just shoot. That's what I usually do, at least. Just shoot the shotgun guy. Or you do a heat action on him like this. And the rest of the fight is pretty much the same. Rather just use bicycles, use signboards, whatever you can to your advantage here. Obviously I'm just running away, but that's because there are bicycles over here that I know aren't here. And there you go. Something I guess that can be a little worrisome is these guys have tonfas and iron pipes, which on themselves aren't bad, but when they block with them, at least with the iron pipes, they can retaliate after, and that can hit you if you aren't careful. It will clip you, so that is something to keep in mind. Very lucky that bike didn't hit me, by the way. Now, for this next section, what I would recommend you do is take a sort of sword from the previous section with you, because in this section I think there might be one bicycle, but honestly the bicycle is not as useful. Yeah, so here I use the Dark Wood sword that they give us to get rid of most of these guys. You can tell this is like the Ishin rush combo with the swordsman class, but for some reason they don't let you do the fourth part. I did a heat action there. Don't do that. You just waste the sword if you do the heat action when I still have like 30 hits left, so don't do the heat action the way I did. I'm gonna go ahead and do the switchblade heat action on this guy. Doesn't one-shot him, but leaves him very close to death. This is why you want to keep the swords, by the way, because you have 3 fat guys here, and these guys are very annoying to deal with. By the way, I should mention that these bat weapons don't, like, they don't disintegrate when you do a heat action. That's something you should keep in mind when you're doing heat actions. Because most weapons you pick up off the ground, whether this be like a normal conventional weapon or something like a bicycle or a beer keg in this case, will break instantly. But the bat weapons don't after a heat action, so they're very useful to use in that regard. But yeah, you want to keep a sword just because it's kind of a drag to fight these guys without one. Just very boring. Now we go on to the next section with the RPGs. Now I know that sounds bad, but honestly the RPG section is really not that. I didn't get hit at all during the RPG section. So we go ahead and grab a sword here, and there's a very specific reason we grab a sword. You can really grab any weapon you can run with, but I use a sword here because I go ahead and take cover really quickly, and I just knee haul my way to this guy. I just leg it because you want to do a heat action on him. Now these two guys aren't going to shoot you, or they'll take a little bit to shoot you, and you can just take them out with quick step strikes. Now you're left with just a normal long battle, I guess. You're left with some normal dudes. Once again, you have a lot of bikes to use. You have signboards. Just use them. Really not that bad. Also, I guess someone had a flash grenade. I don't know. Really, though, the rest of this isn't bad. Really, the RPG guys are the only thing to worry about, but once you get them out of the way, and it's really not hard to, you're chilling. And the rest of this kind of drags out because I was terrified because I really wanted to do this all in one take. So, yeah, I kind of apologize about that, but this part is done in one take, which I was really happy about. I was really worried I'd have to do each section on its own, but it's also like, that would be super easy, so I didn't want to. So this entire section is done in one take, which is super nice. You'll love to see it. But once again, what is these guys' problem? What did I ever do to them? It's funny, I was actually talking to my brother, and he was saying how he would love to see a Yakuza live-action series that deals with the Jingweon Mafia, because there's a lot of untapped potential in them. Which, honestly, I kind of agree with. It would be cool to see a series of them. But this is this section done with. Almost, please. For the love of God. Now you have to deal with the two Jingweon men. I'm just going to run my way there.
Now, there will be a cut, just so you know. I did not do the Jingweon men in one take with the other guys. Sorry, I just don't have the time for that. I apologize. But what I do, I should say, is I pick up an electric police baton that you don't see here. But I would recommend you pick that police baton up because it makes this fight much easier. It is on the ground somewhere, like right here. Electric police baton. It makes this fight significantly easier, as you can see. Like, that stunning effect is just unbelievable. And now it leaves us with these guys at very low health. Very nice. And we get this QTE. And that guy is just dead. And now they're in heat mode, which is very annoying just because they have a lot of damage reduction. But at this point, I would recommend you just heat action this remaining guy here. You have more than enough weapons to do so. I use a Chinese saber and a bicycle here. And that gets this part of the fight done. Now, I will say for this next section there is a cut. But also, I'm going to say that yes, I have muscle soda. And yes, I have... Well, only muscle soda, actually. I was doing a run back. And I am using... I am using the lightsaber. Let me explain. So, what happened was... I did this section legit. The strategy is pretty similar. Obviously, no muscle soda, but there are like katanas and Chinese sabers and stuff sprinkled around. So what you want to do is take out the gun guys first, then pick up these Chinese sabers and these katanas and everything. Group up as many enemies as you can and take them out with the katana, since there's such a big like range. But that recording got corrupted, and I only found out after, so I'm really sorry. And I unfortunately can't go back. Now this part of the fight, what I would recommend is take out the knife guys as quickly as possible. The knife throwing guys, I don't understand why RGG had such a boner for these guys. They just loved putting them everywhere. These guys are awful. Genuinely the worst. So get rid of them as quickly as possible. It makes this fight flow much better. Even the grenade guys that they have here aren't as bad. Genuinely, it's just the knife guys that ruin this fight, or this part of the fight, I should say. Horrible inclusion, I will say. But here, this the boss guy, I actually have no idea what moveset he's using. Oh, by the way, the grenade guys can take out their own people, so keep that in mind. But here, I'm trying to get heat. It's not working, but I am trying to get heat. So I could do heat actions on Hyo here, the mini boss. I'll just call him Hyo, whatever. Obviously, also keep moving around just because you have the grenade guys, so you don't want to get hit by grenades or anything like that. Go ahead and just hit Hyo with the sword a little bit. That's kind of essentially what the strategy is for this both phases. Just pick up weapons and just hit them like that. Obviously, it's less noticeable in this section just because you have the grenade guys and stuff. Now here, what I'm doing is taking advantage of the fact the fat guys are much slower than the not fat guys, and you could use that to your advantage by just taking them out as quickly as possible. We're gonna do another heat action here, but realistically you could also do a sword brush combo. You don't have to do the... I was terrified there because I got stuck. I was like, oh gosh, here's where I get clipped, but we didn't. Super nice. Here now I just grab the katana. And at this point, I'm just heat actioning everybody that I see because, admittedly, I'm terrified, I'm not gonna lie. Just because those knife guys really are such a genuine pain. One thing I will recommend is don't do bounding throws in this section. If you do bounding throws, the knife guys will hit you, the grenade guys will hit you, everyone will hit you if you try to do a bounding throw. And as a result, it's something I wouldn't recommend. Go ahead and do the dual heat action here. Very nice stuff, and I kind of get stuck with these guys for a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, just because it's not that none of these guys are really that much of a threat, I'm gonna be honest, especially the grenade guy, because if you're moving, if you're mobile, that grenade guy is not gonna do much to you. But it was more so because I was just terrified of everything. Now, I do this heat action here, I wanted to do the duo heat action, but from where I was, I knew for a fact that I was gonna get hit by that grenade, so instead I just did the heat action where I plaster his face on the ground, obviously. But now these guys are super low health, and you're left just the grenade guy with his full health bar, but that doesn't mean anything. Just because he has super low health anyway. So just take out all these guys as quickly as possible. And we get to the next section, technically, of this long battle, which is Man in Black 3. I wonder what strategy we're going to use for Man in Black 3. Yeah, so similar to Man in Black 2, Man in Black 3 is not good to fight either. He is just as annoying as Man in Black 2, and it would just not be fun to fight him quote-unquote legit. So, instead, we're just gonna muscle soda him to death. Once again, I'm sorry if that is not what you were expecting with Man in Black, but 180, or whatever FPS I was playing on, really does bastardize this fight. I really like this Feel the Heat of action. It just looks really cool. But now, we have Sword Ryuji. Now, I love Sword Ryuji. I think he is my favorite of the Ryujis to fight. Granted, there's only 2, but I like Sword Ryuji. He's fun. And that is because you can Tiger Drop his attacks very consistently. Here, I start off with the Rush combo. We do a little like extended combo, and I do a bounding throw here. I know it's not going to do anything, but the reason I do the bounding throw is so I can get him on the ground to do a ground heat action, because sometimes the physics are kind of weird, and as a result, it will force him on the ground like that. Now here I Tiger Drop, and the whole point of Tiger Dropping this is to leave an opening to do the charged square attack, and as a result, this can allow you to combo more consistently than if you just do the normal charged square attack. Because if you do the normal charged square attack, you can maybe get 4 square hits off if you're lucky, but he will hyper armor and you cannot do anything else in the combo. Now we're into the second phase of the fight, which is kind of unfortunate because I really wanted to get... Sorry, my CPU exploded when I was recording that. I really wanted to do a little more than just Tiger Drop him, but he was just kind of being... What's the word? He wasn't being the nicest, I suppose. He was being really annoying with what he wanted to do. Or how he wanted to get stunned, I suppose is a better way to say it, right? But I will say a lot of Sword Ryuji's attacks are, not even, just all of them are very Tiger Droppable. We also have this heat action. I actually really like this heat action. It's a very cool heat action against swords. But yeah, you kind of want to back Ryuji up in a corner so you do have the chance to Tiger Drop him, or to a charge square him. It's really nice stuff. Unfortunately though, a lot of this fight is just Tiger Dropping. I didn't want it to be just Tiger Dropping, but he was being very annoying with when he wanted to like stumble. Like here, he just doesn't stumble, he just leans in. And as a result, you can't really combo him. Now here we go ahead and do the counter attack. Very nice. And this puts him in Feel the Heat, with an admittedly really cool Feel the Heat action. Is it a little drawn out? Yes. Still very cool though. Now we have Terrada. This fight's horrible. I am using Sacred Wood armor here because I didn't want to just do Muscle Soda Scum again. But this guy is just insufferable. So we're going to use the Sacred Wood armor. Now I will say the Sacred Wood armor is actually available before this fight. There is a vendor before the Sword Ryuji fight, and he has a Sacred Wood armor. Now once he gets to a second health bar, he will do this heat action, which will give you a heat bar. Did I say heat action? Sorry, I meant QTE. Now here you can do another heat action on him, which will drain his health. He's really not that bad. He has no heat mode, which is really nice. Genuinely. Now with this heat action done with, he is so low that he will go into another QTE. This QTE giving you heat once again, but at this point his health is so low that he will just be in Feel the Heat. So we go ahead and Feel the Heat Daejin Kim, or Terrada, however you like to say it. And we just have a really boring heat action here, which is kind of disappointing. You think it'd be really cool because it's Daejin Kim. We thought he died at the beginning, but nope, it's just a regular, kind of overused one. No, the rest of these guys are just grunts, but I'm not gonna lie, I was not taking chances here because this fight is... it's annoying. I was gonna say something else, but that wouldn't be a good thing to say. This fight's just not very good. Also, Ryuji's body can just keep you stuck in a corner, so don't go near Ryuji's body. What I would recommend is popping extreme heat like I do here and doing the dodge heat actions. That's what I think is the best. Or just really do any heat action you can, because it just gets this fight done with much quicker. Now we're left with these two guys. Like, you can just tell I am not taking any chances, man. I don't even do any of the finishers or anything, man. Because this fight is just so boring, man. It's such a boring fight. There's not really much you can do in terms of style. At least I don't think so. But that is this fight done with. Not a good fight, but it is what it is. Now we have it. The final Ryuji fight. And I'm gonna disappoint you guys. You see me tiger dropping? Get ready for that for like the next 5 minutes. This fight is all tiger drops, and I will explain why. I have a good reason behind this. I try in this first phase not to tiger drop as much because you don't need to, it's not necessary, but gosh dang, in that second part you really need to tiger drop, and I will explain why. Ryuji in his second phase, not necessarily his first phase, but his second phase, has counterattacks. He has them in first phase too, but he has counterattacks in second phase, which have no telegraphs and can kind of just be done randomly, and as a result, he will clip you. He will hyper armor, he will clip you, it's the worst. Also, by the way, look at that. Tiger dropping that grab, by the way. Something I always wanted to do. But, unfortunately, I don't know if it's a 180 FPS thing. I would assume it would be. That is really what a lot of these problems are related to. But, he will just essentially ambush you. And it's very demotivating to have a good run going where you're doing a lot of combos, you're doing very nice stuff, and then all of a sudden he just hyper armors and says, hey, I'm actually gonna grab you, and this is a grab you can't escape from. Sorry! Good job though. And I just wasn't dealing with it. I'm sorry. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's hard to explain, but it's very easy to see just how absurd some of his attacks can be. Just how out of nowhere they can come. Like, there's no telegraph, no nothing. So we're tiger dropping him. Maybe it reminds you of that one Gung Shot video where he just tiger drops all of Ryuji, but it's not how I wanted to do this last section. I was really hoping I could do something kind of similar to you know, the first Ryuji fight, but it just wasn't happening. And it's one thing I really don't like about the Dragon Engine games is they have a boner when it comes to giving hyper armor to enemies at seemingly random. No, it's not random obviously, but they just have so much hyper armor, it ruins the flow of the game a lot. You know, it's in this game obviously, it's in like Yakuza 6 obviously, but then it's also in games like Lost Judgment, which a lot of people consider one of the best games in the series, if not the best. Now obviously it has good combat, but it really lowers just due to the fact that there is that bounce off effect with hyper armor. It really ruins the flow of these games. I don't think it's in it might be in Pirate Yakuza. I know it's in Gaiden. Man who erased his name, but Pirate Yakuza, I don't remember it. But then again, in Pirate Yakuza, you have swords and guns and daggers, so maybe that's why. But it is something that really
lowers my enjoyment of these Dragon Engine games. The Hyper Armor really lowers the quality of a lot of fights, in my opinion. You can make the argument, oh, it makes the fights harder, but I don't know, man. It's just not that fun to me. Now we're doing some heat actions to speed this fight up. I guess another thing to say though is I guess you could also make the argument the older games have Hyper Armor, but the way the older games handled Hyper Armor I felt was much fairer, because not everyone had it, but then also there was the fact that if an enemy did have Hyper Armor, first off, your attack wouldn't bounce off the enemy, it would still go through, and it would show like their like body would like highlight white, indicating, oh, they have Hyper Armor, they're still gonna attack you, in which case you could just dodge, which is not the case with these games. Once again, not that I don't want to say that Dragon Engine games are bad, but this is one thing that genuinely lowers my enjoyment of them. Now, at this point, I was just pretty much waiting until I could have a good, like, what's it called, opening for Tiger Drop, because it gets very annoying Tiger dropping Ryuji 10 times in a row. Or just Tiger dropping Ryuji for, like, I wouldn't say hours, maybe like an hour straight. Just because sometimes I would make a stupid mistake when I was Tiger dropping him or something like that. And that is no damaging all of Yakuza Kiwami 2. It was an experience, I will say that, and I guess we should talk about it, right? I guess we should reflect on what I've learned. So I think the biggest thing I want to talk about is really just how much FPS does affect how combat works in this game. Because before I was like, oh, it's not that bad, you know, I would just do like Coliseum Fights to kind of prepare for this video to kind of understand the combos and things you could see. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. I can definitely get stuff done here, but in practice, when you have to deal with all the Hyper Armor and all the random stuff that can happen, it's truly eye-opening just how much FPS can affect this game. Obviously, I don't show any of my fails, but I promise you, there were a lot of fails, and I got very angry, to say the least. My voice is very calming, but let me tell you, my voice was very hoarse during some of these runs. I would also like to say that I would not recommend no damaging this game. I guess more specifically, don't no damage it if you can't play on 30 FPS. It becomes less fun, and it becomes a lot more of a, okay, do I use Tiger Drop? How do I do this fight? Not like, okay, what cool combo can I do here? And I would say it was still fun. It was fun, like, I guess, finding strats that would work, even though some of them is just straight up just Tiger Drop, which kind of sucks, but it's still fun to have, like, go through the process of being like, okay, what do I do here? And things like that. But overall, I would say this was definitely a very fun no damage. I definitely enjoyed myself. I enjoyed playing through this game again. I enjoyed understanding the boss movesets more than I did before, because when you first play a Yakuza game, or even a second time around, you don't really pay attention to the, boss moveset, especially because you have the healing items and things like that, whereas when you're doing no damage, you really have to pay attention to everything the boss can do. And it's kind of cool to see that sort of evolution whenever you play a game, even though some might no damages in this video might not have been the most eye-opening or the most stylish thing in the world. I'm still happy to have said that, hey, I did it. I learned the boss movesets, or I understood them at a more competent level. And that's kind of cool to see. It's just kind of cool to be like, yeah, I did, Things I learned, I will say, it is crazy just how absurd your damage can get in this game. Of course, I knew you could get really high damage in this game, but it's really eye-opening just to see what you can do if you're not holding yourself back like I was.
like during the Man in Black fights in particular, I suppose, when I had Muscle Soda and everything like that. It's very eye-opening just to see how much damage you can do compared to that damage you can do at 150. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. And Yakuza 3 is next, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, peace.
五輪中を継続中青春の迷い神様の宇宙中白日と失望中夢行きの高速道路は大渋滞中実際の近眼で歪んじゃった残像風やめずっと瞑想中で今月が終わるぞ積もる煩悩鈍る鈍る本能間違っててもいいからさ焦っちょうだい君がどう生きるんだ誇りもしねえ人生が刻一刻と無駄遣いのまま終わりに向かってるぞヘイボーイ考える子だその空っぽの脳みそで見せろ絶望ちょっと燃やし尽くせ飛びみてえな黒歴史光水錆びついた胸の焼却炉で不毛の頂きからあいつらを見下してやれ諦めろズルになりやがれ見せつけろ絶望チョプラー